While the world is increasingly split into rival blocs with pressure mounting to pick a side, India is opting for a different and clever strategy. Even though it's a member of the quadrilateral security dialogue with the United States, India is also a leading voice in the BRICS bloc with China and Russia. New Delhi is rapidly modernizing its military with Western technology while also becoming a major arms exporter to the global south. This calculated equilibrium is the very source of its growing influence and leverage on the world stage. India's foreign policy has developed from a Cold War era of non-alignment to a far more pragmatic yet complex strategy today, one of multi-alignment and strategic autonomy. So, in short, New Delhi engages with every nation as a means to maximize its own geopolitical ambitions, refusing to be locked into any single alliance. India isn't just rising as an economic giant, but actively positioning itself as a crucial partner in the new global order. But can this rising power balance the world's competing interests while addressing its own challenges at home? If you're interested in learning more about what happens beyond the headlines, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, because in our world, every move matters. India's doctrine of multi-alignment is best seen in how New Delhi navigates its foundational partnerships with both the East and the West. It has been a core member of the Quadrilateral Security Dialogue, or the Quad, alongside the United States, Japan, and Australia. The Quad is a group created to counterweight China's ambitions in the Indo-Pacific, and this partnership with the United States is described as one of the most consequential of the 21st century. Yet India remains hesitant to frame the Quad as a formal military alliance against Beijing, and it has a good reason to do so. New Delhi is simultaneously a foundational member of the BRICS and of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, where it shares the table with Beijing, its strategic rival, and Moscow, its key defense partner. This unique position allows India to bridge all sides while pursuing its own national interests. And with Europe, ties are deepening rapidly, driven by a mutual interest in de-risking supply chains from China. And this has led to major defense deals, such as the acquisition of French Rafale jets and a renewed push for the monumental EU-India Free Trade Agreement. But this strategic convergence did not happen by chance. It was built on the bedrock of deep economic dependency. Europe and the West rely heavily on India as the pharmacy of the world. It is the single largest provider of generic drugs and vaccines, supplying 20% of the global total and accounting for 60% of the global vaccine production. The world's reliance on India became starkly clear during the COVID-19 pandemic. And this pharmaceutical might gives India significant leverage and ensures its inputs are heard when it comes to global health security. Simultaneously, India is forging powerful new corridors to its west. Through groupings like the India-Middle East-Europe Economic Corridor, the nation is placing itself at the heart of a new economic architecture connecting Asia with Europe. Beyond infrastructure, these partnerships are powered by another critical global dependency: India's technology sector. As the undisputed back office of the world, its IT services industry is the invisible engine keeping countless multinational corporations online. And its expertise in building and exporting digital public infrastructure is now a blueprint for nations across the global south. This creates a powerful and new sphere of influence. Its partnership with the United Arab Emirates, for instance, has seen bilateral trade surge significantly, years ahead of schedule. This growing economic clout is emboldening New Delhi's ambitions in another critical domain: hard power. India's assertive diplomacy is backed by increasingly formidable military power. According to the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, India is the world's fifth largest defense spender. and is amid a massive military modernization drive. Under the self-reliant India policy, New Delhi is aggressively boosting its indigenous manufacturing capabilities. For policymakers, this initiative is not just about relying less on imports, it's about turning the country into a major arms exporter. And it's working. India's defense exports have grown exponentially, reaching over 85 countries. It is supplying the Philippines with BrahMos supersonic cruise missiles in a direct signal against Beijing's actions in the South China Sea. New Delhi also provides crucial military hardware to Armenia in its conflict with Azerbaijan, curbing the strategic alignment between Turkey, Azerbaijan, and Pakistan, a trilateral partnership that challenges New Delhi's regional interests. Using defense exports as a foreign policy tool is a clear signal of India's growing confidence. This confidence extends beyond land borders. The Indian Navy has adopted a more assertive posture, expanding its presence from the Indian Ocean into the contested waters of the South China Sea. Through regular deployments and joint exercises with partners like Vietnam, the Philippines, and its Quad allies, India is signaling its intent to be a net security provider and a stabilizing force across the Indo-Pacific. This maritime expansion directly challenges Beijing's leverage, giving New Delhi influence far beyond South Asia. However, for India to truly cement its status as a global power, it must deal with a series of challenges. India faces a dangerous two-front security dilemma. Despite its recent clashes with Pakistan, its primary long-term strategic challenge remains China. The long Himalayan border disputes remain heavily militarized, with tens of thousands of troops still amassed on both sides. Beijing's deep-seated partnership with Islamabad and its growing influence across South Asia, its backyard, remain fervent security concerns for New Delhi. The relationship with its nuclear-armed neighbor to the west, Pakistan, is equally volatile, to say the least. In May 2025, the two engaged in their most intense, direct conflict in decades. The clash saw the unprecedented use of drones and supersonic missiles, breaking previous norms of engagement and signaling a new, high-tech era of warfare in the subcontinent. The current fragile ceasefire reminds India and Pakistan that another conflict could erupt at any moment, and this concerns the entire world. India is a dominant exporter of key staples. It exports over 40% of the world's traded rice, a staple food for more than half of the global population. Any major conflict threatens to send immediate shockwaves across supply chains and throughout food markets in Africa and Asia. Despite these threats from abroad, the most significant brakes on India's global ambitions might be the internal ones. Yes, the world has come to depend on India's strategic exports across agriculture, medicine, and defense. But this outward success masks significant challenges at home. The nation is grappling with what has been described jobless growth. Despite a fast-growing economy, the formal labor force participation is worryingly low, meaning economic expansion is not creating enough quality jobs for India's massive population dividend. This is compounded by a severe skills gap, with the average Indian having far fewer years of schooling than its counterparts in competitor nations like China. These deep-seated social-economic issues act as a powerful anchor, creating social fractures and threatening the very foundation of the human capital the world relies on. India stands at a historic crossroads. Its economic weight, pragmatic diplomacy, and growing military might have made it an indispensable player in the 21st century. It is successfully weaving a complex web of partnerships that spans the globe, giving it unprecedented influence. But the journey ahead is not guaranteed. The shadows of powerful rivals on its borders and the immense weight of its own internal challenges could pull it back down. So, India is attempting to become the pivot in a world pulling itself in opposite directions. But to be a stable pivot, it must first ensure its own base is solid rock, not shifting sand. It's just geopolitics. Do you think India can overcome its deep-seated domestic problems to truly become the great balancer the world needs? And if you want to learn more about politics and international affairs, consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. Thanks for watching and see you next time.